What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Jesus Coin today. Hit that like button and subscribe. I very much do appreciate all of you for being here, watching the video. Thank you very much. The last video I made on Jesus Coin, I forget, it might have been this day, maybe it was the day before, but I was calling for us to move down. It's a lot less intimidating now that we've already had the move, right? I hope it's less intimidating with yesterday's close. As dramatic of a drop as 13% might seem for Jesus Coin, we've been through worse, okay? We've been through so much worse. We could go lower, drop another 13%. It's still going to be a higher low. As long as we're not going below this low, I don't care how low we go. It'll probably just be a good thing for the charts. So where I do expect us to go is not that far away from here, right? I think that we are going to interact with this area here, an area that we found support on, an area that we found resistance on. Maybe not directly at this line. Perhaps it is just above it, of which we're kind of already in that area. Maybe it's just below it, if of which we would actually have a little bit lower to go. From the relative low to the relative high, the 618 is just a little bit below that line, and that's sitting at about 7084. I would say anywhere from about 70s, let's say 709 to 7082 is where we're going to go. We're at 709537 right now, so a little bit lower. We're a lot closer now than whenever I made this last call. That blue line held us down yet again, but I do have a good feeling about the next one. I think that we are going to inevitably break this line. You can see, right, just like here, if you look at this 123 moving average here, I'm going to delete everything else. We start to change our curvature, we start to slope up, we get a nice movement, right? We're sloped upwards now. That's when we're getting our strength, right? We're moving up a lot. We start to wither. We're still moving up. We're still at a positive incline, but it starts to roll basically like right here, right at the top point here, right? And then we start to turn down. That's when things pick up to the downside. Okay. Right now, if we look at it for what it is, this blue line to me, it looks like it's already seen the maximum downside slope that it wants to see, and now it's starting to curve to the upside. So even if we move lower, if we can get up sometime this month before the end of June, I would think this line would, I said up, I'm sorry, up above the blue line by the end of June. If we can get there by the end of June, I don't care how low we go, how long it takes to get there, as long as we can move back up above the 123 by the end of June, I think we would get a nice transition to a positive slope, or at least a slowdown in the negative slope, and that would give us an opportunity to move higher, to start this uptrend. But time will tell. Time will tell. Nonetheless, I think we're moving down for the time being. If you're looking to load up on Jesus Coin, we are getting to that point. It might even be a good point now. After all, from the local high, relative high here to the current price, we're at about a 31.8% loss. So not a bad time to DCA. However, I do expect that we're going to see a little bit more of a drop, probably something on the tune of about 10%, 8%. 12%, something like that from here. So I think if we just wait a day or two, maybe a week or two even, I don't know if it'll take a week or two. Let's say maybe it takes a week, maybe it takes 2 days to find its low. When it does, probably a better time to buy. But yeah, I don't know. Daily RSI does look like it wants to go a little bit lower. 4-hour RSI actually looking like today it would want to go higher potentially, if not throughout the whole day, at least the first half of the day. Probably find resistance at that point and then come back down. We might form some bullish divergence with a higher low and a lower low on the 4-hour. That would be nice to see. So maybe we do get our low in the next couple days, actually, or the next few days, because that's based off the 4-hour. We'll see. I'm doing a lot of assuming right now, but just the way it looks, assuming that this is a downward sloping channel, which I think it is, we're at the bottom of it, we probably go to the top of it one last time, we come down. I doubt that we're going to go down to the zero, right? You're probably not going to see that, so more likely we would see a double bottom, a form of divergence, something like that, and then we would start to move up. So we're very close to our low time-wise. We just might have like 10% or so to go to the downside before we find our low. But that's all I got to say. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for being here. When it is time for Jesus Coin to start doing well, I expect extraordinary things. I expect it to do very well. I am planning on loading up on some more once we're below 709. From the local high to the local low, the next target area from the current price at a minimum would give us about an 11x to potentially a 23, 24x or more over the coming months. Right? The last time that we had a low, it was in like a significant macro low, was in September of 2023, the end of September. It took us until the end of November. So September, October, November, it took us 2 months to find our next high. So if we are in the midst of a move now that takes us up, that breaks us out, it could be, we've already been doing this for like 4 weeks now. It could be another month or so before we're at prices up in the 5-0 area. So that's pretty exciting. Especially considering we have lower to go, right? That's an 11x from the current price. If we go to where I think we're going to go, which is like right there, that 11x turns into a 13x. So that's the power, man. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? I think it's crazy, right? From the current price to the 1272. I'm going to try to be very precise here. This is just perspective. This isn't anything that's going to like inform you. It's just perspective. That's an 11x right there. 10 or 1000% is an 11x, right? 100% is a 2x. So then you just add on, it's an 11x. I know it looks like it'd be a 10x, but it's an 11x, I promise you. If the price moves down to where I think it's going to move, which is right there, that's only a 9% difference, right? Actually, sorry, let's put it right there. Let's call it an 11% difference. An 11% difference for what would be an overall, okay, it's not a 13x, it'd be like a 12.1x, but still 11x versus a 12x, you're literally getting 100% more for 10% cheaper, right? You're going to get 100% more out of it with a 10% discount. I just think it's cool. This goes back to a conversation that I had when I actually first was gaining traction on the channel, talking about CleanSpark. I was talking about why buy here when you could buy at like a 10% discount. And someone's like, why wait for a 10% discount when it could go way higher? And then it went down and he was nowhere to be found. And I'm like, this is why you wait, because that 10% in the long run, it can make a huge difference, right? I know it doesn't seem significant now, like it's already dropped a lot. Why wouldn't you just get in here? Now, I will say it's probably not a bad time to DCA, honestly, but don't throw the whole bag at it. But why get in here where if you're patient, you might find a low at an area that makes a little bit more sense? But to be fair, this area kind of does make sense in itself too. It does. It does make sense. But the daily RSI looks like it wants to go lower. The 4-hour RSI looks like it would want to go lower. Maybe immediately it goes up. But at this point, I'm just repeating everything I've just said. So with that, I leave you. If you like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. Based on the fibs also, it would imply that we go lower because we've just broken below our 382. So going up today, breaking below your 382, moving back to find resistance on it, and then going down is a very common thing, and that agrees actually with what the 4-hour looks like. It does look like we would go up today, probably not by much. And then down to our 618 area. It's a very common maneuver to do, so we'll see if it happens. But take care. That's all I got. Bye-bye. See you on the next one.